Hi, everybody, and welcome to Small Steps. Oh, wait a minute. I think I spoke a little too quickly off the mark, so I'll try that again. Hi, everybody. My name is Nathan Aswell. I am based in Vancouver, Canada, and this is Small Steps, Big Life, a show in which we talk to people who slowly but surely are taking the small steps to live the big lives they are here to live. And with me today are the tag team duo of, and I was going to say where you are in the four windows, but it looks different for different people, so I won't say where. I'll say wearing the beautiful peace necklace, which is just shiny and glimmering, doing all kinds of magic things, is Joy Ross. And in the other window, in the lovely black background, also, oh, wow, did you both get those at the same time? I didn't realize you're both wearing the same one. Patricia Connor. Here they are.
Hi, everyone.
Authors and coaches working in tandem to make this world a sweeter and better and richer place. And it looks like in the chat section, we have a number of people who know you very well and who have contributed to your books, which we will get to in a moment. I just want to say briefly that the way that I know these two fine women is there is a wonderful community that meets on Sunday mornings very close to where I live, which is actually White Rock, not Vancouver, in a lovely area called Crescent Beach. And they have we won't say a Sunday service, we'll say a Sunday morning gathering called Heartmind Community. And I recently was the featured musician and speaker. And I've certainly met these two women a year and a half ago, it turns out. Brock Tully, who is a local sweetheart of a man, very interested in all things related to kindness, was hosting a kindness concert. And that's where I met these two women. And they said, you must come on Sunday. So it took a year and a half to do it, but I did it. And I had a wonderful time. And now that I have been there, actually, it wasn't one of the two of you. I think it was someone in the congregation who said, you must do a show with these. No, actually, I apologize. Patricia, it was you. You said, yeah.
Yes, it was.
I think we should be guests on your show. And I said, all right. And here we are. So I went to your website, learned a little bit about the two of you, and I thought, absolutely, these two very much deserve to be on the show. So here they are. Sorry for the long-winded welcome. Welcome. I'm delighted to have the both of you here.
Thanks for having us, Nathan.
And thanks to the beauty of technology. We're all in three different places, and comfortably so. And that's what I love about Blab is we can just do this from wherever we are, which is fantastic. So let's tell people about the two of you. Let's, as is always the case, there's a turning point moment, which I read about on your website. So let's give people a little bit of preamble about what happened before that happened, and then launch into the turning point, which got you to being the authors that you are and why you're here today, et cetera, et cetera. So what should we tell them about your life before?
Do you want to start, Patricia, or shall I? No, you go ahead, Joy. You start. Okay. So Kindness is Key Training and Publishing is the name of our parent company. Uh-huh. And from there, we publish the Heartmind Wisdom Inspirational Anthology Collection. Mm-hmm. So the story actually goes back to when we first started the publishing company. Before it was actually a publishing company, our intention was to seed kindness. Mm-hmm. And that came about as a result of an addiction I had to gambling. And I was walking through a casino one day, and I can't remember if I won or lost. It doesn't really matter, but I just kind of turned it up because I've been trying to quit and trying all kinds of tricks, and here I was back in the casino. So kind of turned it up and said, what is it that I really need? And what I thought I was going to hear was you need a kick in the pants or to win the lottery. And that's not what I heard. What I heard in kind of divine whispering was you need kindness. And at the same time that I heard that, all of the angst and shame and, self-loathing that I was doing just disappeared. And I was suddenly basked in this beautiful feeling of being absolutely, totally loved. And it was kind of experience you can't miss, right? I knew that something had deeply happened and shifted inside of me, and it was somehow connected with our universe at large or in whole. So, of course, I shared it with Patricia. Now, Nathan, Patricia and I have been buddies since I picked her up in a mall when I was selling Mary Kay and offered her a free facial. So we're going back many decades. We lie. We say 20 decades, and we met when we were 25, but it was longer than that. So anyway, so we've been best friends and mission partners in a couple of things since then.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, she was the person I told. And so I went running home and said to her the experience I'd had and being this feeling, etc. And she just got this look on her face, and she said, you know, Joy, it was self-kindness, like finally learning to love myself, that allowed me to heal from periodic bouts of depression, and one which was, you know, freshly on her mind. So we decided that self-love and was the first step to other love. That when we're kind to ourselves, we're naturally kind to other people. And we went forward with our mission. But I'm going to let her talk to you a little bit about how she used self-kindness to heal through her depression before we carry on.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thanks, Joy. And that was perfectly done. And for me, it was, yes, for sure. I had actually a corporate job many years ago, and basically burnt out, and I wasn't being very kind to myself. I wasn't taking care of myself, and finally I couldn't do it anymore. And so I left. It was terrible because my whole identity was based on what I did as a job. And all of a sudden I was faced with the questions, you know, who am I? Why am I here? And I went through a huge transformation, and I had to learn to be more kind to myself. And the truth is that in the first little while, it was very difficult. And one of the tools that I used to recover was journaling and writing. And at the beginning, what I wrote down and what I read on the piece of paper was not very positive. But I kept on. I kept on every single day. I did what is called the Artist's Way. And in the Artist's Way, there are morning pages. And I just kept on going. And eventually what happened was that I connected to my higher self, a higher power, and I started asking questions, and I received answers. And they were beautiful answers. And I started seeing myself in a different light and being more kind to myself. And actually, the story that I wrote in the first book, the Heartmind Wisdom Collection #1, details the small steps that I took in order to come out of a deep, deep depression.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. So the second question I like to ask people, and my sense is that you're beginning to answer this, but I just want to go deeper into it. None of us gets to where we are without the help, support of other people. So obviously there's a very strong bond between the two of you. So you have really supported each other in your journeys. I'm hearing Julia Cameron, as good authors can do, can also be great sources of information, support, encouragement on our paths. Whom else has been a part of your journey?
For me, it's actually, there's been a lot of people. I mean, if you reach out in any way at all, I've found people are always really respond in a positive way and want to help you. But, there's being challenges. And I know Patricia said at your talk that one of the things that you do is you go to YouTube if you need like technical support, correct? Right. So we did a lot of research on YouTube. Partway through our mission, our web guy who had control of everything got sick, quit. Couldn't help us. And so we had to build a website. So, thanks to YouTube, we learned how to do that. So YouTube's been great. But one of the largest sources of inspiration, and I know Patricia's going to back me on this, is the actual authors. When you're reading their stories about how they overcame difficulties and triumphs with a smile on their face, it's really hard to get too caught up in your own challenges. Because you're constantly being inspired by other people. So for me, that's been a huge gift. And I do want to tell you about something that did happen for Patricia and I, though.
Please.
That kind of goes back a bit. So we started The Kindness is Key, and together we wrote this book called The Kindness Ambassador and the Sugarholic Prosecutor. And it was about the 13 keys to living the life you're meant to love. So we put a lot of energy into this. We worked on it for a year. Our intention was to go out and to start seeding kindness in the world and explaining about self-kindness and other kindness and the 13 golden keys to living the life you're meant to love. Well, we got the book done and we froze. We didn't want to do anything. So we had a conversation. I said to Patricia, I don't feel like doing anything. I'm like so frozen. And she said, me too. So we said, okay, well, we'll wait for the universe to tell us what we should do next, right? Because obviously there's a reason. There was no physiological reason to be stuck, so there had to be another reason. So within a few days, we got the message, and the message was, take other people's stories to the world with you. And that is actually how Heartmind Wisdom was birthed, was actually through another divine inspirational message that we got. So I wanted to back up and say that, because sometimes, when we're faced with challenges, we get fearful, or we think that we're going to be stuck for a long time, or not true. You just got to start listening to your heart and opening up your soul, and you're going to get the messages you need to get and know the direction you're supposed to go. So I did want to get that in there.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did. And I was about to ask the both of you that. I remember reading that, and I thought it was a wonderful thing. And it makes me think of another one of the points that I like to bring up, which is that challenges, which initially are perceived as, big steps sideways or even backward, in the long run turn out to be real blessings. And so that's what I'm hearing. You put all this work into creating this book, and then boom, this sense of being frozen. It's like, okay, we're not going the right way. And then just sitting with that, being patient. Well, I don't know how patient you felt, but sitting with that and waiting for instructions is my big phrase. And then figuring out how to move forward in a way that was much richer than you could have imagined when you set out to write the book in the first place.
There's a saying that, the longest journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes when we're taking that first step, we just really have no idea where we're going, right? How big the picture is, or how big the leaps will be. Right. Just don't know. Right. Patricia, did you want to add to that?
Well, I just wanted to add a little bit about the authors that we came across, because we were doing a totally different project. Joy and I were teaching how to find your ideal mate. Mm-hmm. This is yes, it was lots of fun, and we had a great audience of I think the first one about 80 people turned out. And and we even taught things like how to flirt and how to write your ad for Plenty of Fish and all kinds of stuff. What were the game changers? What were the things that, when a potential mate said to you something and said, no, that is a deal breaker. Anyway, it was lots of fun. And this is when we were working on the other book, and we were doing this at the same time. And then we decided to approach this group of people. We actually had two groups. This group of people on whether they would like to write their story or not. Would they be interested in this type of project? And boy, we filled 1.5 books, because we had decided that we're going to have 21 authors in each book. So the first book went very quickly as far as people signing up. And here, we were going, and they had the confidence in us that we knew what we were doing, and we started with classes, and we had a ball. But what was just amazing for us, and part of my duties when we started the books was to videotape each one of the authors just telling me their story. And because, and this was, on Joy's instructions, is that because she's the writer, she's really the writer, she's a published author. And when people start writing, they sort of want to skip right through the part that's very emotional. But when you're telling your story, the emotions come out. So the idea was that we would videotape the authors telling their story, and then they would have this video, and they could refer to it when they got stuck, or when, something that was huge in their life that happened, they would only dedicate 1 paragraph instead of 3 pages, because it was too painful to go through. But, and of course, in the stories, you come out the other side. They're stories of journeys, and with, most of them a happy ending, I would say. But progress, definitely progress. So when we started hearing the stories, we were just amazed. We gave thanks to God. We gave thanks to whoever you believe in, because we were so honored that people would share their stories. And one of the things that we found is that, people want to share their story. They want to be listened to. They want to know that their life has mattered. And by putting them on paper and maybe by sharing what they went through and their journey that they went through, and that they did come out the other side in a good way, would help somebody else. And yeah, so that was, it was really a gift for us to hear of all these stories, and then to work on them, obviously, so that we could print them.
So 2 questions for the both of you. Maybe Joy, you can answer this, and that is, how are these groups? How was this group? Because I don't know if it was one group or more than one group. How were they formed? What was it that brought the group together?
Just wanting to tell their story, exactly what Patricia said. So we just kind of started with our with the singles, right? That we were getting together and teaching them how to flirt and all kinds of things.
And that was the group.
And then we had a spiritual group through a church, and they were closely connected with Patricia. So we just put the word out, and like Patricia said, within like a few weeks, we had 1.5 books filled. So we obviously had to do more books. I mean, it didn't need the universe to tell us that. We could see the need was there, right? So we're still working on that. We have 3 books out now, Heartmind Wisdom 1, 2, and 3. And the 4th book I'm just putting together. And there are a few positions left in the 4th book. If anybody watching is interested, you're going to have the contact information so they can get a hold of us.
Yes.
And did that answer your question? And what was so fun, Nathan, at first we had a classroom. So we used to get together on Tuesdays or Thursday nights, and we would teach lessons and laugh our heads off. We had a lot of fun. Yeah. And then we did the large human peace sign that I know Patricia wants to mention, which was all of us working together to go for the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest human peace sign in the world. We never made the record, but one of the most amazing experiences of all of our lives. So it was amazing. We're going to do it again, but we're going to do it a little bit differently, and not this year, but the following year we'll do it again on International Peace Day. So this group has been a godsend for us in many, many ways in terms of community and being so willing to share their story, which takes so much courage, and just a lot of friends, making friends, right?
Yeah. So before we get to the peace sign, I'm assuming that everyone who shared their story has no experience or has had no experience as a writer. This was a first-time experience for all of them to not only share their story openly, but then to actually sit down and transcribe it to be part of a book.
That's absolutely right, Nathan. So we had lessons, and Joy was the expert I was the expert in journaling. Joy was the expert in writing, and then we also taught the authors on how to speak from the stage, how to talk about their story, how to do interviews. It was a 6-month course. It was a wonderful, wonderful course. And that happened for the first, pretty much the first 3 books. Now we're doing things a little bit differently. When we first started, we thought that by the time we published the 3rd book, that things would change, and they have changed. We've changed our medium, I guess. We've gone to online. Although there's definitely the personal touch, because Joy does about 20 hours of one-to-one coaching with each one of the authors. So
just to be clear, what you're saying is that instead of meeting in one physical place, you're now, thanks to advances in technology, you're now able to reach out in a much wider way and teach online. Yes?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
That's correct. Yes. So we have authors in the United States, and one of our authors actually has recently moved to India. We have another author who is a missionary, and he's in Malaysia right now. And we have authors in other parts of Canada as well. So, we miss the classroom. We miss having everybody together. We really miss that. But now we've gone on to do monthly meetings, webinars online. So, our intention is to keep the group together.
So, and then we have a free webinar too. Every second Tuesday, we do a free grammar class. So we're actually teaching inspirational authorship. So if anybody's interested, they can just visit our website, click on sign up, and then you can watch the replays, much like what you're doing. And we're actually teaching writing. We believe so strongly that people should share their story, whether they're doing it with Heartmind Wisdom or anywhere else, that we're actually helping people who have an inspirational message to learn how to write. So, talking a bit about what happens in a story in terms of suspense, etc., but also the much dreaded grammar. So we're teaching grammar and punctuation. It's kind of fun. I know.
And much dreaded.
Joy loves to teach
I love grammar. Patricia's always going, can't you talk about something else?
And so people must feel safer doing the class online because as you're teaching that part, you have a whip, of course, and you're...
Yeah. No, actually, I'm trying to make it fun. So I actually have a grammar hound and a silly cat who teach the class. So it's a fun class. It's just that there's a lot of nuances with grammar, right? So it goes on and on.
Tell us more about the hound and the cat. What's that? How does that work?
Well, the hound sits on a desk next to a blackboard. And every now and then silly cat interjects so that we have like the person who's acting up in class, who's actually my alter ego, because that's what I always do. And Patricia is one of my classmates and one of my students, and she's the teacher's pet. So it's all kind of animal centered. And then we teach grammar. It's lots of fun because grammar is dry, right? I mean, I love it. So I want to know how every little punctuation mark works, but you might not. And I always hated, do I need a comma here or not need a comma here? And the debate in my head would make me insane. Well, since I've been really teaching grammar, I've had to also really, hone my skills. So now I never wonder about, does a comma go here? I know if a comma goes there. So lots of benefit for me too. So lots of fun.
Yeah, but the only thing is that when I put out your poster there, Nathan, Joy was very kind to let me know that I put a comma in the wrong place.
Yes, I am. Because you had just complained about my grammar classes. I thought, well, you might want to, review them.
So I guess it's going to come to the point, if it hasn't already, that someone may express interest in being part of one of the books, someone that you haven't actually met, someone from another country.
That's right.
Whatever. And so have you had that moment yet?
Yes, we have Joseph in New York we've never met. And Patricia had met Lisa Walker at a conference in California. She's from California. We're pretty connected locally, so people find out about us and come and share their story. But one of the ladies that we have in book 3 is an ordained monk nun who spent a year in silence in Thailand before she was ordained. I mean, just incredible people. Wow. Just incredible people.
Wow. So so book 4 is soon to be birthed, released, published.
We're still collecting authors, so it'll be another few months before it's actually released, but it's in the works.
Okay. And so is the plan to just continue the series or just what's next? What's coming? What's your vision at this point?
We never know. We weren't going to write the 4th book. Right. And so here we are writing the 4th book because some people came to us and wanted to get their story published. So we have lots of plans for promotion, which Patricia can help me tell you about. Getting the word out there is really our main priority right now. We were originally going to write 13 books because we love the number 13, and kind of got behind. One of the things, talk about challenges, I know that small steps, was when we started, we thought we were going to have every book done within a year and a half. Not quite how it turned out, right? So we had to kind of adjust our timeline, which I know happens for a lot of writers and people in business. So I just want to mention that everything has not ticked along the way we thought it was going to tick along, nor have we realized the abundance we know will come for our authors in a bigger and better way. But we have realized that, and you know this as well as I do, that things happen when they're meant to happen. Right. And how they're meant to happen. So this is our promotional year and next year. So we'd like to be as big as Chicken for the Soul. Their first book sold 8 million copies. So it's a good goal. Yep.
So this, just the last few things that you've said, Joy, have taken me back to this idea of things initially perceived as setbacks turn out to be real blessings. So Patricia, what do you think? What are your thoughts about the blessing of needing to move slower? How is that serving this project?
Well, one of the things that we're very committed to is that we put out an excellent product, and that the stories are well written, and that they're, people will enjoy them, that they will get something out of them. I mean, it's so important for the message to come through the words. So I would prefer to have a product done correctly instead of just putting something out there. So that's the main thing. But was it easy? No. I mean, we had our plan at the beginning, and we had to be very patient, and we still have to be patient because it just doesn't happen on our timeline. I think somebody else has the idea of what the timeline should be. But for us, we need to do something that we're proud of and that serves the people that had the confidence in us to give us their story. So it's like birthing a child, basically.
Which I can imagine.
Yeah, don't imagine that. It doesn't sound good. I just want to add that how I think it was a good thing, Nathan, is that Patricia and I have gathered a lot more information about the best way to promote books. So we're a lot more knowledgeable now than we would have been a year ago. So we have some definite plans that we're carrying out in 2015 and 2016 that even though some of the plans that we did in 2000 and I guess when was the first peace sign, Patricia? 2012 and 2013 were great. They created a lot of awareness about our books, our mission. They weren't really directed toward getting the books into anybody's hands because, one, the books weren't ready. So since we now have the books ready, we now have actually something to take to people and to actually show people. So the cool thing is we've also, our learning curve has caught up our timeline, right? So we know what to do to get the books out there into people's hands. So if you're going to look for a blessing in it, that's a huge one.
That's great. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's. I'll do this again, but let's do this now, and we'll do it again later. Let's tell people how they can reach you if they want to reach you. The website is heartmindeffect.com, all one word, no spaces. And if people would like to get a hold of any of the books, the bookstore, the link to the bookstore is heartmindstore.com. Please tell people about this fantastic deal you are going to offer them.
Well, we have a special. Do you want me to tell Patricia, or would you like to?
Go ahead. I love it. Go ahead, Joy.
So it's called the 25-25-25 discount special or whatever. So you got to remember our host's name, which is Nathan, spelled capital Nathen, to take advantage of this. So capital Nathen. So Nathan's name gets typed into the checkout part of our Heartmind store, so heartmindstore.com, and anything you order in the from the store for the next 25 hours for the first 25 people is 25% off. So it's our 25-25-25 discount special.
Okay, so my first question is, are you going to give a little bit of wiggle room to the 25 hours? Because what if someone only finds this a week from now? Online.
Oh, we're real great wigglers. Don't worry about us. We have no problem with that.
All right, so 25 hours is a conceptual thing.
It's a conceptual thing. Nathan, do you mind if I just say a little bit about the books and what's actually in them?
Please.
Do you mind? Okay, so I actually made notes because I'm old now and I forget things. So I'm just going to talk for a second. So we have 5 categories. And the categories are divine guidance, bouncing back, healing from loss, hope, and self-actualization. So we actually found that the stories that initially came in Heart, Mind, Wisdom #1 and all the books that followed easily fit in those 5 categories. So for me, the huge benefit of reading divine guidance is there's stories about what's happened to people in terms of their spiritual connections. And so often when we connect with spirit in some way, whether it's a sign, a gut feeling, an instinct, or just a divine knowing or whispering like I got, we doubt it. We start to doubt that we actually had that experience. And that's sad, because those are actual connections that you're looking for, that spiritual connection with the other side, which I believe is pure love. So the one thing about reading stories of divine guidance is it validates your own stories, and it reminds you not to forget your own stories. So those stories are totally cool and my favorite. Then we have bouncing back for people who, like me, have misstepped in some way. And, some of those stories about bankruptcy, some are about depression. Brock Tully's in there with his story about depression. And it's about understanding you're not alone, that other people have, fallen off the direct line to the purpose path, because you're never off your purpose path, but the direct line to the purpose path is taking a detour. For some reason, you're going to find out later. You might not know what it is today. And how do you get back? So it's kind of about bouncing back when you've had a misstep. And then we have healing from loss, which for me was so helpful when my dad died, because I had never lost a close family member. And one of our authors in the first book, Shirley Buchert, had written about losing 6 loved ones in 3 years, and then the family dog. And the other people that she lost were her mom, her dad, and her husband. So we're talking a mountain of loss. And she actually, I'm not going to spoil her story, but she did really amazing and unusual things to recover. And all the time my dad was sick and I knew I was losing him, she kind of felt like my angel, my earth angel in my corner, because I could hear her wisdom being whispered, you know, from the story, like, because it sticks with you. So that was really cool. And there's other people who've written about losing parents or loved ones or whatever. Patricia wrote about losing her lovely dog Charlie not too long ago. So for pet lovers, etc. So the healing from loss just to lets you know that you're not alone and lets you know how other people have survived. And then hope is another one of my favorites, because hope to me is the first step in any action. If a person loses hope that they can make a change, nothing's going to happen. So if I could declare an international day, it would be the International Day of Hope. I'm huge on hope. I love hope. So lots of good stories there. And then self-actualization is our final category. And that's because some of our authors have actually been on purpose for a while, and they're actually fulfilling the dreams we talk about when you get to the big steps. So they've written about that in there too. So of course, self-actualization is everybody's goal. We want to be living, you know, totally from purpose and in love and peace and kindness and have all the abundance and joy we want, etc. So those stories are for them, and for anyone who's working toward that. Those are good inspirational stories for those. So Patricia, you want to add anything about that before I give the mic back to Nathan? Sorry, Nathan. I get so passionate. Sorry.
Not a problem.
Yeah. First of all, here, can we see the books? Here's the books. Oh, there's the first one. So they're all different colors.
I like all three.
Which is kind of cool because, you know, we like different colors. And they're, orange, yellow, green, and purple. And yes, what I wanted to add to what Joy is saying is that we also work closely with Mercy Ships, which is our charity. And we give part of our profits to them. And we just had our launch for the 3rd book in January, and they were a big part of that. And we love working with them because they're all about hope.
Just please tell us more about Mercy Ships. Until I looked at
you have a question?
The opening few pages of book 3, I had never heard of Mercy Ships. So please tell people more about who they are and what they do.
Yeah, so Mercy Ships has been around for I believe about 30 years. And they are it's more longer than that, since the 70s. And they have a ship that goes around to the poorest nations and along the coast of Africa, and they provide free medical and dental care for the people that don't have any access to that care. And it's run by volunteers. It's completely, all the people that work there are volunteers, and they go and do this fabulous work, and it's just amazing. And they also have training programs for better life and better, how to live a better life, basically, and with the environment and how to take care of themselves and hygiene and all that sort of thing. So they're amazing. I think they have 7, if I'm correct. They have 7 operating rooms on this ship, and they have 82 beds for recuperation. They do a lot of work. Please go on there. It's mercyships.ca and take a look and see what they're doing.
The YouTube replay.
Some of our promotion in the 2015 and 2016 is going to be lots of letting people know about Mercy Ships. So they're such a great organization.
They're based in Victoria?
Their their Canadian office is in Victoria. They're based out of Texas, actually.
But not necessarily everyone's Christian who goes aboard. So people actually have to pay their own way on board, pay their keep while they're on board, and volunteer all the time that they're on board. Wow. Like people who go and help out, it's all from the heart work. They are such an amazing organization. Nice people. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks for telling us about them.
They are
and thank
amazing.
you for championing them. It's very powerful. I want to come back to the book, the 5 categories that you mentioned. either one of you can answer. Joy, you mentioned the 5 categories. Did that? I'm assuming that evolved organically as you were collecting stories for the first book. You thought, oh, they fall into one of these 5 categories, and then proceeded from that into the second book. And I guess you discovered, well, these categories are still pertinent. There's no need to add to them or subtract from them. So that's kind of fun how that organically came about, that it was those 5 categories. But
it was.
Yeah, basically, the first one, I mean, we got the categories from the stories. When we had all the stories together, these are the categories that came up. The reason we did that is because our collections are all different kinds of stories, each one. We don't have a specific theme for each book. So this one, the dividing into the 5 categories seems to work for all 3 books, and probably the 4th
other question I wanted to ask
same.
Is, I'm hoping that there are some men who have written and contributed to the books. Yes?
Of course.
Excellent. All right.
We would like more men, though, Nathan. You're welcome.
All right. I have yet to write any of my stories down, but I accept your invitation.
Okay, great.
The gauntlet has been thrown down. I accept the invitation. I will be a part of a future book. I would be honored.
Excellent. Great.
Good. So I'm happy to hear that there are men that are contributing, because, I'm a firm believer that men are just as capable of expressing all of their emotions and feelings and passion. So, and of course you would champion that. I just want to say that on the record. Yeah.
It's a natural thing to say and ask, because women are known to be so more vocal and honest and open with their feelings. So yes, that would make sense that you would ask that question. And then it's mostly women who read inspiration and self-help. So it only makes sense again to ask that question. But our male authors are actually our heroes. We're just so proud of them for stepping over what a lot of them was a big comfort zone to get across, and or out of, or whatever, and to tell their stories, and they're delightful. They've shared about depression and childhood trauma and all things. And you have to remember, Nathan, one of the biggest things to remember when someone's reading one of the stories is they're wonderful to read and they're lots of fun, etc., and they're interesting. You learn a lot. But every person who decided to tell that story, most of them had not told pieces of that story to their family. So the husband didn't know, for instance, how deep the trauma had been, or exactly what had happened, or the parents might not be aware of a childhood trauma, or a husband, might not know totally what his wife went through, or vice versa. So when we say these authors were courageous and brave in telling their stories, and when we really helped them to only share as much as they were ready at that point in their lives to share, but it was really brave, and that's why the books are so valuable, because they're really authentic. Like, people have been really genuine in everything that they've said. So we're pretty proud of them.
Yeah, and I'd like to add that the stories aren't 2 pages. You actually they are between 2,500 words and 5,000 words, so you can really get into the story, and as opposed to Chicken Soup for the Soul, which is a wonderful series, but they're short stories, and these ones are a little bit longer, so you can really get into what went on for that person and how they came out of what they
I don't know this,
suffered
I'm asking, I just had a thought come into my head as you're both speaking. Is Jack connected to Hay House? Is Jack, are the Chicken Soup for the Soul books put out through Hay House? Or
No.
Okay.
No, Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen started that series years ago. And it actually, by the way, just an interesting side note, took them 3 years before anybody would actually take them seriously, right? And then first book, 8 million copies. So when someone's ever sitting back and thinking, well, should I bother trying? My answer is always, well, let me tell you about Jack and Mark, right? Like, this is what happened. So yeah, you keep trying. And but then they sold the company, and we're not really sure who owns it now, but those were the 2 founders, and they were not connected to Hay House.
Yeah, I believe they have their own publishing company.
I had the good fortune of meeting and
Chicken
working
Soup
with
for the
Jack
Soul
in
Publishing.
2012, so it was wonderful to hear him tell the story personally. We
got hugs from Mark Victor Hansen.
Yes.
Hey, there you go.
Before he was big, like when he was just a new guy, right, Patricia?
That's right. Yes, and his thing was he had a room full of women. I think we were 30 women in the seminar, and he said that you needed at least 6 hugs a day to be a happy
and these
person.
were 30 Mary
And
Kay
he
women
was
who were
willing
all
to share
gorgeous
his
and
hugs.
young. So there was Mark lining up to give us our hugs. Yeah, Mark, we're on to you.
Yeah. Jack talked about that too when I saw him. 4 hugs a day to survive, 8 to.
I like it.
4, 8, and 12. 4 to. Anyway, I can't remember what 8 was, but 12 was to thrive. So
yeah,
I actually have I hug buttons, which I got from Robert McPhee, who is someone who has been with Jack or was with Jack for quite a while.
I love it.
He still is. And I would give them out at my concerts, and people would say, "Wow, what's that about?" And I'd say, "Okay, here's the deal. You have to promise me that you're going to tell people that we all need 12 hugs a day to thrive, and if you take that oath, I will allow you to wear one of these." So they became I hug ambassadors.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, fun.
Ooh, I love it. Yeah.
Please do.
I just want to say a few words about our community, Heartmind community, on which you mentioned. And by the way, Nathan, you were a huge hit last Sunday. Everybody loved you, and you did a fabulous job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to invite people out there, if you are from this area, and if you'd like to drive out from Vancouver to Crescent Beach. It's beautiful. When the weather is beautiful, it's beautiful. And this Sunday we have one of our gatherings, and we have a great guests. We have Miles Murchison, which I really haven't heard him speak, but he was recommended by our other guest on Sunday, who is Ron Irving. And Miles is an author and apparently a fabulous speaker. And he's been in journalism for a long time, and he was the first Canadian to win the Edward Murrow Award for broadcasting. Mm-hmm. So we're really impressed. He came to see what we were about, and he said, yes, I'd be interested in coming and speaking. So we're looking forward to it. So that's Crescent Beach.
There is a link
10:30 on Sunday morning, people want to know April more 17th. About
that. Is there not, Patricia? And what is it? So I'll include that in the replay as well.
If they go into heartmindeffect.com, there is a link there. It does say inspiration is Café right now, because we're changing our name to Heartmind Café. But if they go on the tab, it says is Café. Right. There's information.
Oh, so you have a Facebook group,
and also it's always on Facebook.
Okay, so I will include links for that as well. Okay,
we do.
So I'm just wondering if any of the fine people who are watching would like to come on and sing your praises or ask a question, so I just want to throw that out. I see several people here that you know and love, and as you were mentioning before we started officially, some of these folks are authors in your books.
I would love to have Josephine come on. We were on the phone today talking about that possibility. Can you invite Josephine Lavallee to come on?
Josephine, all you need to do, there's one more window that's open. You should see something there that says call in, and just click on call in and we'll bring you right in. And bingo, she did exactly that.
She's on the ball, that one.
She's on the ball, that one. Here she comes. Oh, the pressure.
I know, we're just waiting.
Technology. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work?
I don't know. I'll just say something while we're waiting for Josephine, and that is what we've done different, in addition to having longer, deeper, more in-depth stories than Chicken Soup for the Soul, is our authors actually share equally in the royalties from book sales.
Wow.
Which is major. Yeah, so we work as a team, and we wrote as a team, and we promote as a team, and we benefit as a team. So totally different. So if anybody is thinking about joining us in the 4th book, that's the deal.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah. No, looks like we're not getting Josephine.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It looks like Josephine's getting stuck. Josephine, maybe what you could do is sign out and try coming back in again. Maybe that will do it. I don't know what else to suggest. Yes.
In the meantime, what about is Catherine Fallman there? I think she was having trouble. She was having technical difficulties, so I'm not sure if she's still there, but she wanted to come on.
who decides to come in. Okay, let's see. Josephine's trying again. Let's see what happens.
So, Nathan, do you write your own songs?
I do indeed.
Yeah, see, that's writing, right?
It is writing.
Like stories or songs, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and as you're saying that, I remember there she is. Welcome, Josephine.
Hello.
I'll just finish this thought, and then we'll shine the love beam on Josephine. I remember reading Sting talking about writing a book, and how for him it was the same process, but as songwriters, we're trying to say it in 3 minutes, and we're trying to say it in rhyme, and so there are all these restrictions, which are lovely restrictions. Some great things can happen when you have the restrictions. And he just talked about how nice it was to express himself without those restrictions. So, yeah.
Oh, well, wonderful. Yeah, it's a lot better when you can go deep. I mean, you can get a lot more message out. But I don't know. You can listen to a song. I know, Nathan, this, is that you hear a song and your mood changes, right?
Yeah.
So that's, if I ever need a really quick booster shot of enthusiasm, that's where I go. Music 101, right? Just put on something that's going to speak to me or take me back to being a child. And I don't know about the rest of you on here, but I just have to say this. I love that when I listen to a song that I listened to when I was 20 and 30, that's exactly how old I feel.
Yeah. Takes you right back to that moment.
Too? Yeah.
Right back to that moment.
Yeah. I know. It's just so cool. I love music. So thank you for sharing your heart wisdom with People Stream Music, Nathan.
My pleasure. My great pleasure. Josephine.
Hello.
There you are.
Yes.
What would you like to share with this fantastic duo about your process and your involvement with them?
Oh, well, I've been a writer for some time, and it was just let's see, it was my referral, I guess you call it. Somebody called me who didn't know I was a writer and just told me to go and listen to these two people talk about their new books. And I was just convinced right at the start.
That's great.
I came here with book one. I've been with the group for 3-4 years.
Oh.
Tricia tells me it's going on 5 years, Josephine.
Okay.
She keeps track. I just think we started yesterday. She's better at the math stuff.
And you will be a part of the new book as well, right, Josephine?
I am. I'm excited to be in book 4. Yes.
Is Josephine's mic a bit different, or am I just hearing a delay when she's speaking?
I'm hearing it cutting in and out a little bit. I think it's probably just her internet connection, is my thought.
Oh,
yeah. I don't have a mic. I'm just using the computer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got to get you a microphone so we can do this more often.
Right.
Absolutely.
Josephine actually wrote about was it book 1, right, Josephine?
Book 2.
Oh, it was book 2. She wrote about being dyslexic and all the challenges of frog's legs, I think was how you described the words on the blackboard, and this terrifying teacher that tormented her, and all the tricks and ways that she managed as a small child to cope with that, and then went on to help children in her adult years as a teacher to overcome challenges with dyslexia. So, well, now I can't even say it, so you're going to have to help me with mushmouth.
Dyslexia.
Dyslexia, yeah. So, Josephine, you want to say anything about that? Because I was really proud of you for telling that story.
Yeah, that's true. All my life, I've been treated as if I'm a dummy and stupid. And then as I grew up, I became an elementary school teacher. And I had Native children out in Alberta. That was my classroom. And I taught them sort of visually. They learned a word, and then they wrote about that word. And it's called the keyword approach.
That's excellent. Yeah, you're actually published with a book that you've written to help other kids. It's with the school board still, correct, Josephine?
That's right.
Yeah. So,
and like Josephine, who is now going to be in 2 books, we have other authors that decided after their first experience to come back and write in another collection. Because sometimes we have more than one story to tell.
That's right. You know what I want to say too? I want to add, because Josephine, just talking about your story just really brought this home for me again, is that, when they say when you're speaking from the stage, if you tell stories, that's what people will remember. Like that's where the impact is in the stories you tell. That's what they're going to remember forever and ever. And that's like and why your songs are so effective, etc. And when I think about how true that is, because I'm going back, I haven't read Josephine's story for 3 or 4 years. 3 years probably. I haven't actually read it. And I can recall the details because it was told in story form. Where if I've read a book, and I've read many books on self-help and inspiration, when I read those, I'll retain a bit as the years go by and maybe the most crucial overall message, but I wouldn't recall the details unless there was a story within that book, right? So stories are so powerful, either in song or in books or short stories or whatever. So just wanted to add that.
The story in book 2, I used a child's voice. I didn't write it from an adult looking back. I wrote it, and this is me at this moment, and this is how I was feeling as I was experiencing the various events and things. And so that's probably why it's the storytelling rather than lecturing.
Yeah, I love storytelling. I don't like lecturing.
Well, the different nonfiction is fiction.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah, good point.
Well, it's wonderful to actually get to speak to one of the people who has contributed. Well, I know that each of you has written stories in the books as well, but it's nice to get Josephine involved as well. Thank you, Josephine.
You're welcome.
I look forward to. I have book 3, so I'm going to have to get the whole series now and read them all because I'm sure they'll all be.
Yay! There's a sale on right now.
I heard. What's that code again? Let's see. Right, my name.
Join the tribe and go into book 4.
Yeah, there you go. The tribe. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, 25 discounts. So.
All right.
And is it capital N?
It's
Joy?
a capital N, and it's NATHEN. It's exactly what's on the screen above Nathan's head.
All right.
Nathan, but not his last name because that would be way too hard.
Okay, Josephine, I'm going to close your window just in case anybody else wants to come on, but thank you very much for contributing, and I look forward to reading both of your stories. Would anybody else like to come in and join us? Now's the time.
Too hard.
We have a few minutes left before we sign off. Wow, what an adventure.
It is. So do we kind of coach or encourage people to come on, or they'll just come on if they want to, Nathan?
Yeah, sure. Either. I mean, it's just lovely to have people here. And as you're looking over, if there's anybody in particular you'd like to call in, please go ahead.
I think Catherine's online. I wouldn't mind hearing from her. I'm in Victoria and I haven't seen her smiling face for a couple of months, so it would be nice to see her smiling face. Patricia seems to have disappeared.
Indeed.
Huh. Was it something we said?
I don't know. I hope not.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'm hoping that she can still hear us. Patricia, she'll know, I guess, to sign out and come back in again.
She knows what to do. Something's just going to miss. Yeah. So.
Okay. All right. Is your desire to? No, I feel like I've already asked you that question. The series may continue. You're just going to be organic about it.
We're going to be very organic. I really, from the first message where kindness, be kind to myself as opposed to beat myself up or win the lottery. Since that day, I've always known there's a spiritual connection, and I've had many spiritual connections, but that was so powerful. I've learned to really wait and listen. Mm-hmm. So, I can say we're going to do book 5 or not. It's going to really just depend on what the universe decides I'm going to do as far as I can see in this mission. I'm just getting a phone call from Ms. Patricia, so hold on.
All right.
Hi, Patricia. You're on the air. What happened? No, I'm still on the air with Nathan. I can't find you.
Everything went black.
I don't know why everything went black. Do you want to go back to the link and try to come back in?
Yeah, that would be the thing to do.
Okay. We'll see you online. Okay. Bye. Your screen went blank.
Okay. And Meryl, I'm sorry that you're having internet trouble. There's no problem at this end, so I guess there's something going on at your end with your internet. Here she's back.
Is Patricia coming back?
Yeah.
Hi.
Et voilà. There you are. We thought maybe we'd said something.
No, all of a sudden everything went black. Josephine left, and we left too.
Well, no.
Well, we're glad you're back.
Yes, we are.
Thank you.
So, is there anything that that we haven't said? Is there anything that we need to make sure that we say in this gathering today? Either of you.
You know, there's one thing that I want to finish with. Do you want to go, Patricia?
No, go ahead.
Probably
You start
wrap it up. I'm going to add a thought, and for me, it's something that I really try to teach other people, and I really live by. And when my dad, going back to when Dad was dying, because there's so many lessons to be learned in the love that is between people when one is passing and one is staying. So, my dad would get discouraged sometimes, and he just want to give up. And one of the things I said to him one day was, Dad, you never know which day you're going to be the miracle. So he wasn't in pain or suffering or anything. So I say, you know, it may seem like your life no longer has meaning, but that's just not true. You don't know what person you're going to speak to, or what person you're going to interact with, or what you're going to say to me that causes me to say something to someone else that may be the miracle in the world. For Patricia and I have an expression, which is be the love, be the miracle. And I just think that that's a good note for me to end on.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Patricia.
Well, after that, I just don't know what to say anymore, but very good, Joy. I just actually wanted to thank you, Nathan, for having us on and for being so gracious. And for, you know, I was the one that approached you, and I'm really glad that we did this. So thank you for having us on. My
great pleasure. I'm very excited about what's becoming my brand, Small Steps, Big Life. I really think that there are so many of us that are doing fun and interesting things. Well, all of us really. And so my goal is to have everybody in the world on the show, to champion everyone, because we're all taking small steps to live the big lives that we're meant to live. And so it gives me great pleasure to celebrate people doing that, and to encourage people who are listening to do the same. So, yeah, this is part of my gig. Part of
it's
why
a great
I'm here.
gig.
Yeah, it feels
it's
really good.
It's a great gig.
So thank you both. So let me just say to folks who may have joined or who are watching, or who joined midway through the broadcast for whatever reason, my name is Nathan Aswell, and this is my show, Small Steps, Big Life. I'm based in Vancouver, Canada, and today my guests have been Joy Ross and Patricia Connor, who are co-creators, co-schemers, coaches and authors and creators of a book series, which you have to get your hands on. And here are some ways, all the ways that I know of to reach them. Their website is heartmindeffect.com. And you can get their book series at their bookstore, heartmindstore.com. There's a wonderful sale going on right now. Patricia, this time you give the pitch, because we've heard.
It's 25, 25, 25, 25. So it's easy to remember. And it's 25% off anything on the website. So that's heartmindstore.com for 25 hours in brackets, because, you know, people might not hear that. So 25 hours from the time that you hear this broadcast. Is that fair?
That's fair. That's fair. Let's go with that.
And it's for the first 25 people. So there you go.
Great. Wonderful.
We're not really sticklers about the 25 people either. We just thought 25 sounded fun.
Yeah, it does sound fun.
Yeah.
And we'll just kind of look the other way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
And
we would be very, very happy to have people, you know, for them to have our books in their hands. So.
And there will also be links. I will also include links on the replay, which will be on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, and on one of my playlists, I have all of the Small Steps, Big Life replays in reverse order. So this one will be right at the top within a very short time. And so there are a couple of other links. One is to Mercy Ships, which is the charity that these two fine gals are connected to, and is Café, which is now becoming Heartmind Café. There's a link for that on heartmindeffect.com, but I will include that specifically too, just so that people can find that more easily. And there's also a Facebook group you can join if you'd like. So big thanks to the both of you, and thank you for being the love and the miracle so clearly and so fully. That's
Thank you.
Beautiful to celebrate the both of you, and may this hour serve you well, and may you post it on your site, and may it just touch a million more hearts. Let's get the word out about what the two of you do.
Thank you, Nathan.
Do it as big and as fully as we can. So.
And back at you.
So I'm just going to press pause recording, and we can all speak for another second, but we're officially signing off. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this show serves you well. Love and blessings.